What's up, everybody? Paul from PB Sports Talk. It is Saturday, July 5th. It's actually a little after 1 p.m. Beginning this recording. I apologize to all the viewers, and there were many clicking on this morning. We had some issues running the live show at 10 a.m. like normal. We had some power surges, and then the system shut down, and then I couldn't get it to reboot and had to do some rejiggering and decided, for troubleshooting purposes that we will put this out as a recording instead of live, but it is still July 5th. It's a Saturday. It is week 40. It's a big celebration for us. Our 40th week, or our 40th, what was supposed to be live episode, is a milestone moment for us. And I'll get into what the show is going to be and such here in a minute. But a couple of things first. I did some research yesterday, and I did not know this. I was not aware of it, that the average podcast show length of time from start to I'm not going to do this anymore is 6 to 12 weeks. So basically a month and a half to 3 months. This production, or this thought, has been going on for basically over a year. And I had to put it on hold for about 5 weeks to handle some other things, but there has been, and we did some other stuff, messing around. But where it actually started, and it was week after week after week, is 40 consecutive weeks, or 40 weeks with a 5-week break in there, but didn't count those. And so it's been 40 episodes. Really, really proud of that. And none of it is possible without all of you. And I'll get to more of that in a minute. Today's show is, again, week 40. We're going to talk about the Indiana Fever rising, and a lot has changed in the WNBA. They announced expansion plans this week. I'm going to go over, and I've done it on other videos, but I'm going to talk more honed in on the real reason why Detroit, Cleveland, and Philly are taking on new teams, and how that could possibly be for a league that has never been profitable in 27, 28 years standing on its own. LeBron and where he will end up. He is opted into his deal with the Lakers, but I'll talk about how that can go away. Pistons trade talk. Malik Monk, they have their sights set on as a free agent. And Kuminga, I continue to put him up. That's my own personal favorite for them to target and get. And they're going to have to give up some capital to get him. And then I'll close it up with some NFL talk and updated thoughts on Lions. Some of it will be a repeat, but we're getting closer now. We're like 65 or so, 64 days away from the season opener for the Lions, September 7th, Sunday, September 7th. But before we get into all of that, is I wanted to touch on this. So before going on the show here, you'll see right there. It's a thank you, fans, because honestly, the followers and the viewers are growing rapidly, and it's beyond actually my wildest expectation. This graphic here, again, right before the show, 465 subscribers now on our YouTube channel. It's like 95% of people do not have 500 subscribers and never will reach 500 subscribers. We're at 465. I actually think it's up about 470, 473 right now. But I created the graphic at 465. It's growing at about 50 followers a day. We're averaging about 45,000 views a day. Super, super excited. More and more material going up there where I use others' material and I speak over it and I graphic over it. And then, of course, my own content like this. So just a really special thanks to all of you and to all of the people who have jumped in on YouTube. This is a really great thing. There is a lot of exciting things coming up. You're going to notice more advanced graphics. You're going to notice better quality picture, better quality sound, and there's going to be one centralized place for you folks to get all the information, and view the podcasts and view the clips and all that sort of thing. I can't get into it too much, but in the next week or two, you really see a change in how that is all leveled out. So just an incredible thanks to each and every one of you for your support, because without you, we just simply can't do it. I can't do it. And so first topic today is the WNBA and the expansion talk, and the Indiana Fever specifically. So the Indiana Fever won the Commissioner's Cup this past week, and they're rolling right now. And they're rolling without Caitlin Clark, who's been injured. I think today she's going to miss her fifth consecutive game. And there's all this talk about they're a better team without Caitlin Clark playing. It's total BS. That isn't even exactly why things have changed. DeWanna Bonner's no longer on the team. She was 37 years old, and I think it's pretty clear and pretty evident that attitude and just the fact that she's 37 and couldn't get up and down with them quite the same as she once did has enabled the Fever to play a different brand of basketball. And Ari McDonald rejoining the team has just sparked them in an intense way. And I think that they have now finally embraced that they're not the favorite of the league in terms of the favorite team for the other players around the league or the other franchises. They're actually kind of disliked, hated, some would even say. And I think that they've now embraced that. And instead of fighting it back, they've embraced it and they're using it as kind of a rallying cry. So when you take on into consideration, Bonner's gone, Ari McDonald has come on in, everybody's bought into what Stephanie White's doing. They're bonding. The chemistry is terrific. They're all like it's chemistry. They're all fighting for the same thing now. And I think we're going to see this continue to evolve and evolve and evolve. And I'm going to get into something more specifically about the referees and such here in a little while. But let's jump on over to the WNBA expansion plans. And the expansion plan, Detroit, Philly, and Cleveland to add into the league by 2030. They're at 13 teams now, 2 expanding next year, make it 15. Then the 3 that I just mentioned will round it out by 2030. This is a bold step by the league. I think it's a little bit crazy, to be honest with you. The league has never profited in 27, 28 years, but I'm going to explain to you why it happens that they can actually expand. So how can you expand a league without worrying about diluting it, which it's going to do? There's no question it's going to do. And I'll talk about one of the rising stars coming now is Paige Brookers is an outstanding talent. She's got the greatest handle in the history of the game. She is a pure shooter, a pure scorer, is constantly in motion, and is going to be dynamic. Is there enough people like Caitlin Clark and like her that are dynamic enough to go league wide and make this a product where there's 3 or 4 per team like that? I don't think we're there yet. And expanding it from 13 to 15 and then 15 to 18, well, that's 30 more players or 20 more players. And then it's 30 more players, 40 and 50. And on top of a league that already has 12 teams or 13 teams at 10 apiece, that's 130 players. You're going to add 5 teams. That's basically 50 to 60 players. Does it have enough to support that type of growth? I question that. What can happen with the popularity of the league, and it's never been more popular than it is right now. The question is, can it sustain and can it hold to support those franchises? And does it have the players to make it interesting enough? So a lot of people now, I'm interacting with hundreds of people a week now, and lots of questions. And it's like, so how can this league survive on its own? And it's never been profitable. And I went to a basketball game and a wrestling match broke out, or I wanted to watch it, and a wrestling match. This is WWE, and I agree with all of that. It's totally out of control, and the league needs to get a hold of this. I don't think they were ready for this, which is kind of striking. Like I guess, the league never really stopped. Some teams relocated, some key teams disbanded, but the league never stopped. I don't know though that they were ready for this popularity, this injection of Caitlin Clark, and then bringing on, and let's just call it what it is, folks. There's a racial component to this. There's no question about it. There's a beauty component to this. There's no question about it. It's being marketed as such. There's no question about it. The Indiana Fever are marketing it as such. The players are marketing it as such. You had 2 pretty blonde girls on top of the Caitlin Clark effect, and you have that all on one team, and an entire nation basically is embracing that. And Caitlin Clark, without question, is the most popular athlete in the world. There's a lot of people that were not ready for that. You could say that like the Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, they're not even as popular. LeBron James is not even as popular as Caitlin Clark right now. And you can all hit me up with comments later when you see this. By all means, feel free to do so. You can go onto YouTube and do it. You can hit me up on X at PB Sports Talks, whatever you'd like to do. I'm happy to have that debate. Okay, Caitlin Clark is the number 1 most sought after athlete in the country. I won't say the world, but in the country right now, she is. And the WNBA is faced with, how do we handle all of this? And then there's, again, let's just call it the way that it is. When you take a bunch of women, put them together, a bunch of guys can sit there and they can start, growling at each other too. Um, there's a jealousy component too, I think, here in the WNBA is like, why them? Why are they getting the attention? What about me? I've been around for 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. It's never been like this. I've earned it. And this is the new girl on the block in the second year. Nobody really thought of Sophie Cunningham, prior to. She doubled her TikTok followers from 500,000 to 1 million like that. It was basically in 24 or 48 hours after the incident where she stuck up for Caitlin Clark in the game. She doubled her followers. I mean, do you think that those other people would like to, the other players would like to double their followers and increase their endorsements and such? Of course. Well, it's a lot of focuses on the Fever itself. And so we're seeing so much with the fouls and with the abuse going on in the game and the pinatas and overall, it isn't just the Fever. Overall, the game is being officiated extremely, extremely poorly. And I'm going to jump into that actually right now and put a different graphic up on the screen. Let me enlarge that and get my head out of the way. So the WNBA referees, what? Like, seriously, it's so bad. It is unbelievably bad. And these are not people that they just picked up off the street. The WNBA referees are paid by the game and generally work games over the winter and have played refereed in the G League. And it's kind of this stackable working up to get to that level. But they're paid by game. They are not salary employees like the NBA. The NBA is basically double the schedule. And there's a rotation of referees for the 30 teams, and the WNBA only has 12 teams, and there's less games, and so there's less work, and there's less refining of your trade, of your craft, and I don't think they know how to handle it. This bitterness and this animosity and this pettiness that's going on the court is manifesting itself in all sorts of ways. So I don't think that they quite know how to referee it. It's kind of gotten out of control, and at the moment where the popularity is bursting from the seams, there's a counterweight or a counter effect by the poor refereeing and all the pettiness and the jealousy, that's all happening at one time, and it's making the game look very, very bad. So being that I do this every day, all day, in these comments, people are like, I'm done. I'm not coming back. I'm fed up. I don't want this. I don't like this. I'm tuning out, and that's it. I tried, but I'm not going to do this, and I can't ever watch anymore. There's a lot of that, and it's hard to get eyeballs to whatever product or service it is that you're offering the first time. When you lose it, it's 10x hard to get it back the second time around, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to do that. And with as many problems that are going on, and of course, over time with anything, you can improve, but there's so much at one time. All those things I mentioned, now expansion plans, it's like getting this together. And then this just happened this week, and it's mind-blowing. And I talked about it in another video, but I'll touch on it here as well. The Commissioner's Cup, get this, in season, they make it this championship to try to create interest. The NBA has done it. The WNBA does it. Each player, well, $500,000 was the payout. There's basically 10 players on the team. Let's just for speaking purposes give it around 10. They're going to share it with coaches and such. But let's just assume they do it with just the players. 10 players, $50,000 each for an in-season tournament. The granddaddy of them all, the full season champion, which should be treated as something bigger than an in-season championship, it's $20,000 a player. So quick math, $50,000 a player for the in-season tournament, $20,000 for the full grand season. You go to the finals, you win the championship, you get $20,000 each. Now, some might say, hey, that's 50 and 20. What are you complaining about? And a lot of the players on the team make just at 50 or a little over 50. And if you put it 50 and 20 is 70 is more than what they earn in the whole season. Well, what's wrong with that? They made a lot of money. Well, you're right. But at the same time, what's more important, the in-season tournament or the grand season tournament? So if you want to take the money, reverse it. Something thereof. 25 and 50 is 75, or 20 first for that in season. 50 is the big prize. So you keep it sustained for the whole year. Some people will say, well, why wouldn't you play the full season for 20? $20,000 is still a lot of money to these girls if they're only making 50, 60, 70. Caitlin Clark's salary is $76,000 because she's still on her rookie deal. That's not where she makes her money. We all know that. She got a $28 million deal with Nike. She got Wilson, a whole bunch of other endorsers. She will never make the money, no matter what happens in this league, anything close to what she will make outside of the game. And quite frankly, all the other girls too that really have game, the Kelsey Plums and the Brookers and the Sophies and Lexi Hulls, and there's a lot of them. Even the gals before, Diana Taurasi or Ionescu or Brittany Griner or whoever, they're making more money outside the game. That's just, there's never going to be enough money in the game to make it where they're making 10, 12 million, 15, 20, 25. The demand's not there. It won't ever be there quite like that. So if that's the case, then how does a team like Cleveland, Philly, Detroit, how do they take this on? Well, for several years, I was a sponsor for the Pistons and the Palace Sports and Entertainment Group back in the early 2000s, 03, 4, 5, 6. The Pistons won the World Championship in 2004. That's really when I was involved in it. And the Detroit Shock was all around that time. Excuse me. And they won 3 titles. And they later sold the franchise. It just never stood on its own. It's a part of a big portfolio. So you had the Pistons was the main draw, and then they own concert venue and other things back in that time. And you sprinkle in an additional product to add to your inventory to be able to give people a reason to want to sponsor, want to get season tickets. And then year round, because the WNBA doesn't go on during the NBA season, there's another product to offer in the off season. So while it might not be a profitable intake to your portfolio as in terms of by itself, it's an added on benefit for your sponsors and for your season ticket holders. So that's the methodology. There's a lot of people that think that why the league can't stand on its own. How can they do this? It's going to go bankrupt. It's going to go out of business. As long as teams like Detroit and Dan Gilbert now in Cleveland and Philadelphia and other teams, as long as they're willing to take that on and either foot the bill for it itself or get some assistance by the NBA, they're going to add it and it will continue on. I think a lot of people have a question is if you're ever going to get it to be serious enough and you're going to get the quality to be good enough to go over 18 teams, which I'm telling you, right now the quality is not good enough at 13 teams. It's not going to be good enough at 15 teams. It's just not a good enough product to the purest basketball people. It might be something that young girls aspire to be, and they're pure diehard basketball fans. But if you're looking to attract massive attention like you just got over the past, say, 3 months with the Kate, and even last year with the Caitlin Clark effect, and now the Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall and all of this, it has to be run right. The quality of the game has to be run right. The management and refereeing of the games has to be consistent. And I'm going to show you here something that I broke down several weeks ago. Well, the first I'll show you, let's see if I have that one. Yeah, there it is. This is from a different show of me with a couple photos moving in there and some thoughts I have. I'm going to pop that up on the screen and let you hear this. While it is, I'm going to pop this up where I just think that the WNBA, while it is, pulling in massive ratings now for obvious reasons, the league is not ready for this. I just at that point now where I've seen enough, and it's like they don't know how to handle what's going on. And I don't think they know how to do it at a league level. I don't know if they know how to do it at a team management level. I don't know if they know how to deal with it at a player level. I mean, it is systemic all the way from the top to the bottom. Now, you have the NBA who owns most of the teams. They're happy about this. You have the franchise owners who own it. They're happy about this because eyeballs are coming to the game. But if this doesn't get fixed, and it doesn't get fixed soon, it's going to flip on its head. So I felt that way several weeks ago, that clip was from, and I definitely feel that way now. I might even feel more so that way. Now, this is just from a day or two ago. Now, this is a huge problem. It hasn't even been fixed. They might be able to get the fighting and the throwing guys girls down and this tackling like it's freaking rugby or something. They might be able to get that under control, but the most basic plays that make the game watchable or not watchable, real or inauthentic, is at stake here. This is 2 days ago. Watch this.
Side floats it up, shot won't fall. Wilson, what looks like time Nye on the drive, gets inside, floats it up, shot won't fall. Wilson, what looks
unbelievable.
Like over the back. What?
Oh boy.
You think?
Ball is the call.
Wow. Stephanie White's upset about that.
The fans know it. Everybody's booing. Look
Watch
at this in
this.
slow motion. What is that?
That's a jump ball?
That's a jump ball?
That's usually an over the back call.
Usually an over the back call. Let's watch that
Drive
one more
gets
time.
inside, floats it up, shot won't fall. Wilson, what looks like over the back. What?
Now, that's a star player in the
Jump ball is the
WNBA
call.
getting away with this call.
Wow. Stephanie White's upset about that. Wow. Watch this. That's a jump ball?
And credit
That's
to the Bleacher
usually an
Report
over the back call.
for the video there. So it's a major problem in that it can't be taken seriously. It doesn't matter if it's a girl fan, a guy fan, like that guy who's like that, you know, he's showing it's over the back. The announcers know it, the fans know it, but the referees don't know this. Where is the breakdown and why is it happening? And until they figure that out, I have the chills right now because it's like, I don't know how you can screw something up that bad. You know, I was never a licensed referee, but being a coach for so many years, you know, it's like I would ref certain scrimmages and stuff and certain, you know, things that we would experiment with. It had a whistle around my neck. And in those cases, I'm blowing the whistle. A foul is a foul. By definition, what is a foul? Like, do they not know? That's one of the most basic foul calls. It is not even like user error, judgment error, if it's travel in full motion or not. I mean, that is an egregious of a foul, as obvious as a foul as there possibly can be, where you have somebody much taller that's actually encroaching over the back, and then that person's bending. Lexi Hall is bending down like that. She's covering the ball, and the person's going with them. She is body to body on that. That is 100% a foul, 100% of the time, 100% of the whatever the circumstance, time of the game, playoffs, championship, regular season, doesn't matter. And they can't figure that so far. They can't figure this out. You have players that are upset about it. Nobody knows what a foul is. Nobody knows how to actually do what they're supposed to do on the floor. If you can't figure that out, then you don't have a game. And if you don't have a game, you don't have a league. And if you don't have a league and a game, you don't have fans. And they're there now, and some have left. And I don't know that you'll ever get them back. And you have people tuning in, and it's like, you can't do it. You have to fix it. And the person who runs the actual league officiating, Monty McCutcheon, I believe it is, 25-year NBA referee. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. It's not like he doesn't know how to, maybe he doesn't know how to teach it down the ranks. It's not like it's, you know, managed by somebody like me who doesn't have 25 years experience of actually reffing and leading crews and all of that. So they got to get this fixed. You know, the refs are on the court and they're talking amongst each other. They look confused. You have, I have this? I don't have it, but Stephanie White, the coach of the Fever, got a tea the other day, and she's hollering at the officials and cussing, and Caitlin Clark gets up and she's cussing and they're high-fiving because she got a technical foul. So that's crazy stuff, and they better get it fixed or this is gone. All right, so moving over into LeBron here. I don't have any fancy graphics for him. He's not worthy of them. So everybody knows, I think, what's going on. And if you don't, well, listen in for a few minutes here. So LeBron James this is basically would be his 8th year, I think, with the Lakers. He opted into a $52.6 million deal. He was on a 2-year deal. Is going year by year. And so he last season was the first year. This is the second season of that deal. So he opts into 52.6. which means that the team is on the hook. If he chooses to stay, they have to pay him that money. It's his option. So the Lakers have kind of made it pretty clear that they want to move on from him. So how does that happen? You have to look and see, and I think he did that. He basically said, his agent said, Rich Paul, he said, LeBron he's committed to trying to win another championship, and we're going to kind of monitor what the team is doing. Okay, so he's the owner of the Lakers now. He's going to monitor what they're doing. He's going to decide whether or not he wants to stay around for that. All right, fine. So the Lakers basically called his bluff, and they let him go do what he wanted to do. So overall, the interest in him at the league level isn't very, very high. And so there's 4 teams that are basically being talked about and in the mix to get him. Golden State Warriors is a potential possibility. The New York Knicks, which he's always talked about, Madison Square Garden. Cleveland Cavaliers, which would be the 3rd time, and rumor has it that he was in Cleveland this week. He was working out in one of the gyms with some students or some young players, and that he might have even been golfing, and he had a hat on that said "Welcome Home." And there's some dispute as to whether or not that was welcome home to Diddy or whether it was welcome home that he's home in Cleveland. He's always throwing out these teases because he can't handle not having the attention. And then the last team on that list, which there has been some conversation, is the Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks, who now drafted the greatest player to ever come out of college, in my opinion, most complete player ever in Cooper Flagg. There's some discussion about LeBron potentially wanting to go to Dallas. He would reunite with Kyrie Irving. He would reunite with Anthony Davis. He would be around Cooper Flagg. So Dallas has said, hey, the only way that we would be interested in any of that is if there is a buyout. That would mean that the Lakers have to buy out his $52.6 million, take on a whole bunch of dead cap space, and basically let him go for nothing. And then Dallas can sign him to the veteran minimum. Why is that good for Dallas? That's good for Dallas because they don't have to give up any of their core roster to obtain LeBron. And obtaining, if you ask me, in my opinion, it's a horrible move. Don't even bring him anywhere near. If I'm any franchise, not just Dallas, regardless of buyout, regardless of trade, I wouldn't take the circus show that he is and the drama and the ego and the flopping. I mean, it's just a disgrace to the game. And in my opinion, the game needs to heal, and it cannot heal until he's gone from it. And then you take the younger players that are coming up, the Anthony Edwards of the world, the Jokic of the world, the Cooper Flagg, and there's many others, and build the game around them and let the game, Cade Cunningham is another, let the game grow without him, weighing it down, which is clearly he's done. People are tired of it. Overwhelming majority, the data says, and the polls say they want him gone. You have your diehards that just will never, ever feel a different way. But then you have your people who see through it and can take the favoritism and put it aside. He is still producing, but it's what you have to put up with while he continues to produce. It's like every time he says something, it's just disturbing. It affects things. He ruffles feathers and makes waves, and it's just nonsense. So I really, really hope that Dallas doesn't take him on in any capacity. Dan Gilbert, I can't imagine him doing it a 3rd time. They got a good thing going there. I mean, can he contribute to a team in terms of on the court? Yeah, but you got to be willing to take it all off. The Knicks, that's actually the one that I could see happening because he always wanted to play in Madison Square Garden. It's a huge market. They could probably use him. Will they buy him out? Unlikely. They'd have to give up, Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, and maybe somebody else to get him. So you think you improve by taking him, but you give away some good pieces. The Warriors, much the same. You'd have to give up Kuminga. You'd have to give up a couple of other players. I don't see it happening. And then just find a way to get him minutes and all of this stuff. It's a messy situation, and the drama is going to continue. We'll see how that all plays out. Like I said, Dallas, stay away. All right, Pistons talk. Let's pop this up here. I really think that they're going to be very, very good. A lot of people are worried about what they've done in free agency. I'm not as much worried about that. They added Duncan Robinson. They added Karis LeVert. The Malik Beasley thing I've spoke about. You can find out what I put up on YouTube, and go to YouTube at PB Sports Talk and subscribe. Join the channel. I have a lot of things going up every day to that. I have my thoughts about Malik. That basically the gambling probe that's going on forced their hand, and they had a deal on the table for him, and they had to pause it. And so they went out and got Karis LeVert. They got Duncan Robinson. They lost Dennis Schroeder. And Jaden Ivey's coming back, and potentially Malik Monk, who I had up on the previous screen, that they're trying to get. You lost a couple of other pieces, but I just don't think it's substantial enough to say, hey, we didn't replace and recover enough. And then you still have guys like Ivy, as I mentioned, if you don't trade him away, Ron Holland, who's not even 20 years old yet, and Marcus Sasser is a young player that hasn't gotten a lot of time. They're going to be okay, folks. I really, truly believe that. Let me enlarge this screen, and it's just their depth chart right now. So at the point guard, and some of these guys are interchangeable, can play different positions, but point guard, Cade Cunningham and Marcus Sasser. Shooting guard, if all things stay as they are, Ivy comes back, Jared LeVert. Listen to me, the singer. Karis LeVert comes back, small forward, Oscar Thompson and Duncan Robinson. Power forward, Tobias Harris and Ron Holland. A little bit light there for sure. Center position, Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart moving 4 or 5. Paul Reed, they re-signed, play the center, and maybe he's going to play a little bit of the 4. There are some vulnerabilities there, but to have a perfect roster, that's asking a lot. Now, if you do Malik Monk, and you're going to be a little bit heavy at guard, right? I got it, but you really can't ever have enough guys, and I think last year proved that with Ivy. So I think you can find a spot for Malik Monk. He's another 6'2", 6'3" guy, more of a shooting guard than he is a point guard. So you have some extra there. Marcus Sasser can play a shooting guard. Cade Cunningham can play shooting guard. Ivy and LeVert, Monk. But you have some versatility there, and you have some pieces that are adaptable. So I think they'll be okay there. I'd like to see them sign Monk, but the biggest guy that I would love to see them have is who I had on the previous screen there is Kuminga on the other graphic. But in order to get Kuminga, you're going to have to give up some assets. And I think that asset would include Jaden Ivey and probably a couple of picks. But I'd be willing to do that. And Ivey's a 17-4-4 guy, but Kuminga presents a piece to put in areas where you need more of what his game is than you need what Ivey's is, especially if you add Malik Monk. So I would make that deal. But overall, I truly think that they're in a good position and that they will be just fine. Moving on to the Lions. Yep, that's what it says right there in the big bold. Let me change this up here just for a second. Yes, I do believe. Yes, that is. I'm actually being very, very serious. 5 years ago, when the Lions hired Dan Campbell, and not the kneecap comment, but when he said, SOL, I don't want to hear that shit no more. And then year 1, challenge. Year 2 was a challenge. Then year 3 and 4, especially year 3, you're a half away from getting to the Super Bowl. This is year 5. I predicted that they would be in the Super Bowl within 5 years. I have it still locked in. In fact, I feel strongly about it that this year is the year, not just because it's the last year of the prediction, but I truly believe that they are ready to take this step. And if you see there down on the bottom, the 25, and I have this on YouTube as well, where I break down the entire schedule, wins and losses, what I think about each matchup, home, road, etc. I have them at 13-4 or 12 and it says 12-4. It's supposed to say 12-5. Sorry about that. 13-4 or 12-5, worst case scenario, 17-game season. I truly believe that. It's toughest schedule of these 4 years, and now the 5th. You have a gauntlet of teams to get through, and that's the price you pay when you get to be that much better. You're going to play the better teams, not the weaker teams, but they're built for this. They have the depth for this. They've made the necessary adjustments. Everybody's still clamoring for Za'Darius to come back. Trey Hendrickson is still out there. Potential, I don't want to even say potential for the Lions. It's potential that TJ Watt may move on from Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens there. However, we'll see how it plays out. But I think even if they don't get Trey Hendrickson or they don't get Za'Darius or TJ Watt, I think that they'll be fine. And I can't wait. It's about 65 days till September 7th. And very, very excited about that. All right. So in closing here, as we continue to expand the show, going to be adding more and more guests. And if you have, a unique story, a background in sports, podcasting, maybe you've been a referee, a coach, a parent, a player, current or former, and you want to come on the show for a great Q&A, tell your story, I would love the opportunity to be able to do that and have you on. You can go right to my website, pbsportstalk.com, and up on the top, it'll say be a guest on the show. There's a small 5 or 6 questionnaire. Go ahead and fill that out. It'll come directly to me. We'll see if it's a fit. We'll have a conversation, and hopefully we can have you on the show. Would love the opportunity to do that. And so do that. Go up to PB Sports Talk and hit be on the show, and we'll go from there and see if we can, get things to go and that it's a fit. And then in closing, let me just get this off of here. In closing, I want to again say thank you so much to everybody. 40 weeks, pretty special deal. YouTube, as I said, continues to improve and advance, and lots of clips going up there. Some really exciting things coming in the next week or two. Please do go ahead and join the channel at PB Sports Talk on YouTube. You can follow me on X at PB Sports Talks with an S, or to a lesser degree, but still, it'd be great if you could follow and like on Facebook at PB Sports Talk. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful remaining 4th of July weekend. Everybody stay safe. And always, as I say, make sure to hug someone, hold someone, love someone. Life is truly short. For now, until the next time, we'll see you soon. And thanks for joining. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye now.